How's it going, guys? It's a final render here, and I've had a bit of an interesting month. I spent the last month, maybe even 2 months or so, trying lots and lots of different games to see what kind of works within the channel, because Fallout 4's lifespan is slowly starting to decrease, and we have only got 2 more DLCs, unfortunately. But you know what? Limited DLCs does not mean limited ideas, so how about we try out the next DLC, which is the Contraptions DLC. I'm a little bit late because I've been working away probably worked away about 2 weeks out of the last month, so I'm a little late to the Contraptions party, but that being said, let's get straight into it. So for this episode of a Contraptions DLC of Building with Mods, we have come to the Crater of Atom. The Crater of Atom is a tiny little town set dead within the glowing sea, and it is full of the children of Atom who worship radiation as their god. The only real problem, of course, with worshipping radiation is that radiation tends to, poison and kill you. So this place is very inhospitable. However, people do live here and they do practice their faith in perfect peace. They don't bother anyone. However, I do think that we should use some of our building skills to make this place much more habitable for the children of Atom. So what do you say? Let's impose our rights. So, we're going to start off by going into the main center of the building, and we're going to spawn in our own little workshop using the place at me C1AEB command of the command console. Place it down, spin it around a bit, get it looking nice, and we can now use this place as a settlement. And to start off with, we're going to use the Scrapple command to get rid of an awful lot of the structure. We got rid of a lot of the bridges that we don't want, an awful lot of the rubbish on the floor, etc. And we're going to start by building these foundations, which are the warehouse foundations, which you can find as part of the new warehouse section of the Contraptions DLC. It's kind of a marble based floor. I believe I had something like it prior, but this is a new one, so I'm going to use it. And now we've got a nice, smooth, flat surface to work with, and it works pretty well. And now we're going to use some of the brand new scaffolding areas of the Contraption DLC. I love these things. These things look so good. Tell you the truth, I have no idea why someone hasn't thought, let's actually make some scaffolding in Fallout 4. Because it just makes sense. It's quicker to build, so why not? And we're also going to make one of the food processors. Part of the Contraptions DLC is that you can make factory-like machines which can produce things which you can use. One of them of which is a food processor. So we're going to whack that onto the roof of the scaffolding we have just made, and then we are going to connect it up to some power. However, we are going to actually have the power at the top of this elevator up here, so that nobody can get in its way. Firstly, we're going to use a solar power up there, using the craftable solar panels in order to just power the elevator, and then we are going to have a fusion generator to power the machine. And this is it so far. It actually looks really, really good. I'm amazed by how quickly you can make things actually look really quite nice using the scaffolding. It's only scaffolding, but it just fits within the Fallout lore so well, because as I said, your scaffolding, you can build it so quickly and make strong, sturdy structures, so it makes sense. And here is the fusion reactor, which is part of the last mod I just showed. And I just don't use too many mods in this video, because it's mostly about the Contraptions DLC. But this is one I do highly recommend you get. It's very nicely done, very nicely animated, and gives you lots of power. And now I've actually been getting a little crazy in real life about cable management, so I'm going to do it here as well. I'm going to have lots of power conduits to connect things to the ceiling, so that it doesn't get in the way. And now, we're going to activate our food processor. These people are going to live purely on pork and beans, because, one, that's mostly a British diet, and we're going to give it for these guys as well. So, we're going to start off by killing a mole rat, which I've spawned in, but then I realised, you've got to go hunting mole rats and stuff. That's not very practical. So I'm going to make myself a little mole rat pen right here, where we can store mole rats, and using some of the assets from the Wasteland Workshop DLC, we have got some mole rat cages, and we've also got one of these beta wave emitters, so that all the animals when they come out will be safe, and you can cook them and eat them. And then we're also going to have some little farm plots so we can put the silt beans on there. So now, this food processing station is ready to go. We've got, in theory, got an unlimited supply of silt beans. We've got an unlimited supply of the mole rats, which can tunnel under the fences into here. Unlimited food, in theory. And we're also going to add one of these cool marquee boards. This is a nice idea. It's a little tedious to write your messages because the little letters are so small, but you can light it up and it actually does look pretty darn nice as a decoration. So now, let's turn on the food processor. I currently put the ingredients enough to make 1 can, and there we go. That is an entire mole rat, 2 silt beans I believe, and 1 steel to make that. And now also, it is radiation free, so we have given the children of Atom radiation free food, so they won't get ill from eating it too much. And now, of course, we need to actually make the weather a bit better. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but the glowing sea tends to be a bit, poisonous. So we're actually going to try to fix the weather here. We're going to use some of the warehouse assets and scaffolding in order to make ourselves a little warehouse area. It looks like a bit of a wreck, but it actually fits within this location very well aesthetically, I think. And we're going to make a pyrotechnics mill. Very similar to the food processor. You power up a terminal, connect it to the machine, give it some power, put in your ingredients, and then you get some pyrotechnics. And I've also got them connected all onto conveyor belts, which then go into a hopper, so that we can collect all of the pyrotechnics we make at once in just one giant container. And it works really, really well actually, this part of the Contraptions DLC. It's definitely the easiest part. I'm definitely only scratching the surface with the Contraptions DLC in this video. There's so much more you can do, but this is what we got so far. We've got this lovely conveyor belt, which doesn't work. Unfortunately, all of the fireworks, they roll off. All the weather changing shells fall off. But I fixed that by having a little wooden rail on the side, so they roll back onto the conveyor belt and into the hopper. Great success. So now that we are collecting all of our little shells which will change the weather, how do we use them? Well, using one of the brand new firework mortars from the Contraptions DLC, we can add these shells which we've just made in our own factory, and it will start firing these weather changing shells into the air at an alarming speed and at an alarming rate of fire. And then these change the weather. And not only that, but I also believe that you can get other ones, so you can make it rain, and you can make it sunny and stuff. And in order to stop them firing rapidly like that, you go to a terminal and you can say how often they fire. I set it to 30 seconds. Now they normally last about 5 minutes or so, I believe, so they do last a while. And now also, for Children of Atom, they don't really wear very good clothing. They kind of wear rags only, and that's not very good for your health. So we're also going to make a little loom mill, so we can make some very snazzy clothes which will roll out of the conveyor belts and then get stuck on the rollers. You've got to make sure they don't get stuck on the rollers, so I actually decided to change it into be purely conveyor belts into the hopper, and now we have got a factory making clothes as well. And now we need a sleeping area. There are already some sleeping areas in this place, there's already a few little buildings, but I wanted to make some more. So using another one of the elevators, which obviously we already had with mods, but now they are official in the vanilla game now, or with the DLC I should say, we can use them there as well. And we're going to use some of the prefab metal buildings to make this little floor. The entire place is pretty much made out of prefab metal buildings as far as I'm aware, so it made sense to have my own room do that as well, so it fits the same aesthetic. And using the Homemaker, I am able to add my very own little metal railings so people don't fall out. And now we're up to the third floor. The third floor is just going to be a little watch area. There aren't going to be seats or anything like that, but the idea is, say if you're part of your faith, you need to be in radiation for a certain amount or a certain amount of time outside, you can just go upstairs, go outside, and all is good. And for the sleeping area, very simple, just some little double beds. The idea being that these people are here for faith, they're not here for comfort, so therefore just give them simple beds. And now using snappable junk fences, I am able to add these kind of junk fence walls to the underside just to kind of make it look nice, make it look a little more secure. And then I'll also put up some little metal support so the building doesn't fall down, which I think is very, very logical in my honest opinion. And then finally, just as a little bit of extra defense, not so much from raiders and gunners, they don't really come this far, but from animals like deathclaws, they definitely come here. We can use craftable tool walls and spacers to get some really tall junk fences just on those areas where there are gaps in the wall. So there we go. That is how I made the Children of Atom's Crater of Atom a little more suitable to live in. Now obviously, these people aren't too fussed, they've got to worship their faith wherever they want to, and they are happy with that. However, you can't really live here. It's a little too dangerous, unfortunately. And the nice thing about this place now, especially with the Contraptions DLC, is that we can actually make the glowing sea great again. And we can make the weather perfect and clear as long as we've got the machines to make the ammo for it. We can constantly make food as long as we've got the resources, which in theory we should, because there are lots of mole rats out in the glowing sea. And we can also grow all of our food now that the weather is good, so we can get unlimited amount of food. And if we need to go out and skin animals, which you can find throughout the glowing sea, we can also make our own clothes. The place is completely self-sustaining with energy. It's got a mix of energy fusion reactors, and it's also got solar panels, so this place is a one-stop shop for energy. You do not need to leave this place in order to survive, unless you need to go and get the ingredients for food, etc. So, there we go. That is me building up the Crater of Atom to make it a nicer place. Remember to check out some of my previous videos, such as my last one I did on Fallout 4. I showed you my kind of process with a mod I am making with the creation kit, where I'm recreating Fallout 3's location, Vault 101. It's actually coming along really nice, that is. It's really good. And also remember to subscribe if you're new here. I've got lots of videos that have been going out on the channel recently, such as Subnautica. We actually completed Welcome to the Game, a kind of niche little horror game. We finished that the other day, and it was a pretty good game. I highly recommend you check out the videos. And we've also got more of the forest, and maybe 6 months worth of Fallout 4 building with mods is already on the channel. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. This has been the final render, and you have been the audience. Bye bye for now.